If your sex drive has disappeared or you're struggling with performance and it's starting to mess with your confidence, it's not just aging and it's not all in your head. Okay. So this is, again, your mitochondria, your body's energy system screaming for help. So let's talk about your cells for a minute and not just your hormones, because they also control libido, erections, and performance. So there's this overlooked link between mitochondrial and sexual function. So most people think libido and ED are just hormone problems, but what's the real story here? Because your sexual function depends on cellular energy, right? So erections require vascular blood flow, nerve signaling, neurotransmitter release, and mitochondrial power to fuel all of it. And so when your mitochondria are sluggish or your body prioritizes survival and not reproduction, that's part of the issue, right? So that means you're going to have low libido, weak erections, and maybe even no desire. So even if your testosterone looks okay, that still could be an issue. So why does this happen? So when your energy systems crash, here's what drives it. So chronic stress and high cortisol, which basically crush testosterone and nitric oxide. So nitric oxide allows the vessels to dilate. And that's a really important feature of an erection, is to get blood flow into the penis. So poor sleep and circadian disruption. So you have lower LH, which is a luteinizing hormone, and melatonin. Processed foods, if you have a processed food diet, and nutritional deficiencies, your mitochondria are basically starved. And toxin overload. So this is another thing that we see, especially with low testosterone. The plastics that are out there, the seed oils, the EMFs that are attacking us constantly. So we see declining testosterone and rising estrogen. And when you see that in men, you can start to see it's called gynecomastia. When the men get it, they almost look like breast, but they get this fatty tissue in the chest area. And that is from rising estrogen. So that's the metabolic and mitochondrial traffic jam that kills performance. It can happen even before you hit 40. So how we fix it? So the mitochondria protocol for libido and erectile dysfunction. So the first thing we're going to do is restore hormones, because really that's the foundation of health. Restoring hormones is extremely important. So we'll test for total and free testosterone, even estradiol in men. So men do need estrogen. It's not like there's no estrogen whatsoever. They definitely need estrogen. They just don't need as much as women, right? And the same is it on the reverse. And women need testosterone, just not as much as men. But both hormones are really important for both men and women. And then we check a DHEA, and DHEA is the precursor to testosterone. So that's really helpful, especially if you're younger and you don't want to take exogenous testosterone. Taking something as simple as DHEA, which is available over the counter, can help boost natural testosterone levels. So you want to also consider TRT, which is testosterone replacement therapy. And if your levels are really low, or you're in your 50s already, 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, there's no upper age limit for testosterone. You always need it. Or you could use peptides like kisspeptin, which will stimulate natural testosterone. And you can support luteinizing hormone with HCG, especially if fertility is a goal. So if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and you still want to have kids, doing exogenous testosterone is probably not the right thing to do, but you can support natural testosterone with the kisspeptin, the ganadorelin, HCG. The next thing you want to do is repair mitochondria. So using supplements like CoQ10, acetyl L-carnitine, and magnesium will help support mitochondria. And also therapies like red light. So red light helps stimulate mitochondrial biogenesis, which is the creation of new mitochondria. We like to use EBU, which is oxygenation and ozonation of the blood. So that helps restore mitochondria. And PEMF-MAT. PEMF is pulsed electromagnetic frequency waves, and it creates like a nice magnetic field that's really in sync with the Earth's magnetic field. And then IV support, so you could do glutathione. And then you want to rewire the arousal pathways, and you can do this with peptides, right? So PT141 boosts arousal and erections via the melanocortin system, and oxytocin restores emotional connection, intimacy, and desire. So you can use these in conjunction with lifestyle upgrades like sleep, movement, sunlight, and then you would take PT141 and oxytocin 30 minutes prior to when you're going to have sex. So it takes a little of the spontaneity around away from it, but at the same time, as you get older, some of these things you just have to plan. So and so, I had a patient who was 51 who came in saying, I just don't feel basically like a man anymore. And he was on the edge of depression, libido completely gone, erectile dysfunction really creeping in. We ran his labs. His testosterone is borderline, but his oxidative stress was sky high. So we replace the testosterone, and that absolutely helps. But if you have out of control oxidative stress, that needs to be dealt with as well with supplements. So you need antioxidant therapy. So we put him on some glutathione. He got the PT141 with oxytocin, the testosterone replacement, and weekly red light therapy sessions, plus soft wave. So soft wave can be used to help to break up blockages for erectile dysfunction. So that and radio frequency, those two combinations really help to restore the blood flow to the penis and the vasculature. Whereas something like Cialis and Viagra, if those blockages are there, you might get a weak response. And there's a whole bunch of side effects that come with Cialis and Viagra that don't come when you're working with something like soft wave and radio frequency that really just open up the passages and help to create new passages, right? So it creates a collateral circulation. So if you can't break up the passage, the blockage, then the soft wave and radio frequency help create new passageways, and then you get the blood flow. And that's really what you need. It's not just dilating the vessels. It's about getting new vessels in there. So within a couple of weeks, he was texting saying, I'm back, so is my confidence. And that's the power of working with your mitochondria and not against them, and recognizing that they play a huge role in erectile dysfunction and low libido. So if this resonates, you want to grab my free guide to the Mito Mastery. It walks you through, the different lifestyle strategies that we do to restore energy, hormones, and vitality from the inside out. The link is below. So now that you've seen how ED, low libido, and burnout all tie back to your cellular health, we'll flip the script and how you go from sluggish, stuck in your dad bod to full on beast mode. And we're going to talk about that in the next video. So make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming up next in this series, because it's not just about fixing problems. It's about building the strongest version of yourself from the inside out.